Hello everyone, my name is the anime Avion, and welcome to my channel. I am an anime advocate who normally does commentary and review videos, but today I'm trying out a new style of video. I'm going to do a top 5 list. Now I know top 5 lists aren't new in any way, and there are a lot of people who do them, but I wanted to make my own to voice my own opinion and get my own opinion out to the YouTube community. Now, when I was younger, I would always stem to YouTube or some other type of social media to figure out what anime to watch, and a lot of times I would go to a top 5 or a top 10 list and pick the ones that interest me the most. That's what I'm trying to accomplish here. Instead of you guys going out and browsing through a whole bunch of different anime, I want to compile my top 5 to give you guys a better idea of what I think is worth watching. Now this top 5 list is going to be a top 5 sports anime. The reason I decided to do sports is because I had never been into the sports genre of anime. I pretty much avoided it all the way up until about 2 years ago, where everyone got very excited about the anime Haikyuu. So I decided to give that anime a shot and realized, wow, I actually quite enjoy this genre. And then I expanded my repertoire and I watched way more sports anime and realized that I really like the genre. So the reason that I decided to make this list a sports anime list is so that I could push the genre out into the community and hopefully get more people interested in sports animes. Now I actually want to get into the list rather than beating around the topic or taking too long because I feel that's rather pointless. So I'm going to go from number 5 down to number 1. Starting at number 5, I actually have a tie. I have a tie between the sports anime Hajime no Ippo and Diamond no Ace. Hajime no Ippo is a boxing anime, and it's actually one that I really enjoyed watching. We follow our main protagonist Ippo through this story, who starts off as a very unconfident, very weak, around high school age boy, who ends up in a boxing gym and realizes that he has a passion for boxing, and then he gets with the people of the gym and he starts training, and we get to watch kind of almost like the movie Rocky, if any of you have seen that. We get to watch him go through training and his montages and watch him as he grows into a boxer. Now the best part of this show is we get to see how anime portrays boxing matches, which can be done very dramatically, and they're very fun to watch. The training is fun to watch because it's motivating, it's fun to watch a main character build upon themselves, but I'd say the best part of the show is how the anime takes advantage of the facts that it will express a boxing match and be able to portray the emotions related to that match through the way they draw the art, how the voice actors do, and stuff like that. I really enjoyed the intensity of this series. I'd say if there's one reason I would recommend watching Hajime no Ippo is if you like watching a motivational story that has a lot of intensity in its feeling. Following Hajime no Ippo, we have Diamond no Ace. Diamond no Ace is a baseball anime, and I didn't want to leave it off this list, which is why I decided to tie it with Hajime no Ippo. I actually preferred Hajime no Ippo over Diamond no Ace, but I didn't want to make this a top 6 list. I would rather keep it at 5. I don't know, I liked it better that way. So I decided to tie the two so that I wouldn't leave Diamond no Ace off the list. Now, Diamond no Ace follows Sawamura and Kazuya. I may pronounce those wrong, but it follows an aspiring pitcher, or rather 2 aspiring pitchers, one being decent and one being very, very good at pitching. Now, the one who's very, very good at pitching isn't our main character. The one who's decent at pitching is our main character. And he's very eccentric, he's very expressive, our main character. And one of the reasons that I couldn't watch the series is because it's very realistic. The growth of Sawamura is almost hard to watch because they're very realistic about his growth, about his potential. He doesn't just become this godlike picture. He makes mistakes all the way throughout, and it's a really rough ride getting up to where you want him to be. That was one reason that I liked Diamond no Ace, and also another reason that I had trouble watching it, because you feel almost bad for Sawamura because of his mistakes. But I didn't want to leave it off this list because I did enjoy the first season, and I did start the second season. I've not finished it, but it is an anime in terms of sports animes that I did want to recommend. Following these two, coming in at number 4, we have the sports anime Haikyuu. Now, I'm sure this is going to surprise a lot of you because Haikyuu is one of the more well-liked and more renowned sports animes. So, it may come as a surprise that I decided to put it at number 4, but I wanted this list to come from me and to be more of my opinion on what I believe the top 5 are. So that's why it's at number 4. If you disagree with my choices, that is fine. You're free to list your favorites down at the bottom. I just decided this is the best place for it in my mind. Now, if you don't know Haikyuu, Haikyuu is a volleyball anime, and we follow our main protagonist Hinata. Now, the niche of this anime is that Hinata is an aspiring spiker. If you don't know what a spiker is, it's the one in volleyball who essentially jumps up to the ball and then slams it down onto the other side. The catch here is Hinata is not tall, he's very short, and generally for a spiker, you want a very tall person who can get up to the ball and hit it down real quick or get above the other side's defense. Now, Hinata is normally too short to be considered a good spiker, but we get to watch him go through a journey where he builds himself to be, I suppose you could say, a high-flying spiker. He flies like a crow, or at least that's the analogy that they tend to use in the anime. He learns to jump very high, to follow the ball very well, and to develop a keen sense for the volleyball sport, to where he can overcome his challenges regardless of his height holding it back. Now, Haikyuu is something, or rather, it's a sports anime that a lot of people like, and if you're going to get into sports anime, I would actually recommend it as maybe your first attempt, because it appeals to a very large range of people, and it's actually the anime that got me into sports anime. So I'm putting it at number 4, but don't let that distraught you. Don't let that make you think that you shouldn't watch it. Definitely give Haikyuu a shot. It's a very great anime. Following that, coming in at number 3, we have Kuroko no Basket. Now, if you can't already tell from the title, Kuroko no Basket is a basketball anime, and it was one of my favorite sports animes. So I might be a bit biased here, but obviously I put it at number 3, so I'm not completely biased. So in Kuroko no Basket, we follow our main character, Kuroko Tetsuya. Now, if you haven't noticed the theme already, generally the main characters of these sports animes have something different about them. They're not like everyone else. Kuroko's difference is he's not very noticeable. He doesn't have much of a presence as a person. So you could per se walk right past him and not even realize that he was there. He uses this to his advantage when playing basketball, as he serves as a passer between his teammates. He'll get the ball from one of his teammates, pass it to someone else, and the enemy team won't really know what happened because they don't even notice that he's there, which of course is fun to watch. But I think the most appealing thing about Kuroko no Basket is Kuroko started out in a team called the Generation of Miracles. The team wasn't called that, but it had 5 people in it that are referred to as the Generation of Miracles, which are 5 different basketball players who all have this really unique trait about them. We have Kisei, Midorima, Akashi, etc. I don't want to list them all, but watching Kuroko build a team in a new school with a friend that he meets called Kagami, and that team then going up against all these Generation of Miracle people is really fascinating to watch. And the animation of the show and the music is done so well. Like, it is done very well. It creates a perfect vibe of intensity, very much like Haikyuu does. And to me, I actually enjoyed the intense vibe that this show created more than Haikyuu, and that's why I ranked it above it, and why I would recommend watching this one over Haikyuu. Now, I think Haikyuu is a great sports anime to get into sports anime, but Kuroko no Basket is definitely something I want to recommend to people who want to get excited, who want to get pumped up, and who want to just feel that intense energy that comes with a sports anime that makes it oh so fun. Now, following that, coming in at number 2, we have Yowamushi Pedal. Yowamushi Pedal is a cycling anime, and it's a sports anime that I happen to hold very dear to me because it actually got me into cycling. Now, generally when you watch sports animes, you're probably going to want to play the sport that they're playing because you'll feel motivated, you'll feel excited, and you'll be like, wow, I want to do that, it looks like so much fun. Well, that's exactly what Yowamushi Pedal did for me, and I started cycling and I realized that I really enjoy cycling. So the reason I ranked this at number 2 is because it was a good enough anime that I really enjoyed it, but it also motivated me to do something in the real world that I ended up really enjoying. And to me, that means a lot. What you get out of anime is more than just enjoying your time watching it, I believe. So Yowamushi Pedal follows our main character, Onoda. Onoda is kind of a scrawny, kind of short kid who doesn't really have anything special about him. He likes anime just like us. He's an otaku. And the only real niche that Onoda has is at the beginning of the series, it's noticed that he can ride a bike up a very large and steep incline hill whilst having a very poor bike. I may have phrased that weird. He's able to ride up a very large hill with kind of a mommy bike. Most professional bike riders will ride a street racing bike, which is made to go very fast. It's slim, aerodynamic, and he's able to go up this very intense terrain with a mommy bike, which is just a basic tiny bike that's not really built for him, with a basket on it, etc. So it's almost like he has a natural talent for bike riding, and this is noticed during the first few episodes, and he ends up joining his school's cycling team, where he finds his passion for cycling, and then just like all the other sports animes, we get to watch his progress as he trains and goes into competitions. And I thought it was fascinating how this anime was able to take cycling, which I feel like for a lot of people might not be that interesting, and make it such a fascinating event to watch. It actually made me want to watch cycling in the real world, like in the Olympics per se, because it gave you a look at what's going through the competitor's head as they cycle, which makes it so much more interesting than just watching the bicycle race flat out. And that's what I enjoyed about this anime, is it's motivating like the others, but it also gave you a deeper understanding of the sport, which I'm sure the others do, but this one appealed to me in that sense so much more. And it's definitely a sports anime that I would recommend watching. If you like bicycle riding, then no doubt watch this, and I think it might motivate you too to try out cycling, so give Mushi Pedal a shot. And now we come to the big number one. What show out of every sports anime would I most recommend you watch? For me, this choice had to be unique. It had to be something different, something that isn't normally recommended, and maybe a show you've not even heard of before. I decided to pick for number one, Chihayafuru. Now, Chihayafuru isn't actually a show about a conventional sport like you might think. It's not about volleyball or basketball or baseball or swimming. It's not about anything like that. It's about a card game called Karuta. Now you might be asking me why I put a card game anime as the number one for sports. Well, it's because this card game is actually played in a sportsmanlike way. The way that Karuta works, essentially, is there is a reading card and a playing card, or reading cards and playing cards. And essentially, a reciter will read the reading card, and the reading card has a specific ending that is on one of the playing cards. Now, two players will sit around the playing cards, and the first one to jump out and touch the ending of what the reciter is reading wins that round, and it essentially works this way. Now, interestingly enough, this might not sound like an interesting prospect for an anime, and that's exactly what I thought when I read it. I was like, well, this sounds boring, I don't want to watch this, but the reason I put it at number one is because I decided to watch it, and I actually ended up really enjoying the show, so much so that I gave it a 10 out of 10 on my anime list. Now, the reason that this show was so enjoyable is because they managed to take a sport, quote-unquote, that isn't conventional by any means, and still make it really intense and really exciting, and gave us a look into the intellectual side of this card game, and what people have riding on this card game. And I thought that was fascinating. It was also fascinating because they incorporated backstories of the characters and a slight bit of romance, and being able to put all that into an anime which seemed so simplistic was enough for me to decide that this show was unique in a sense that made it... I got lost. It was unique enough to me that it should be number one on this list. I feel like it was a show that wasn't like other sports animes that I've seen. I feel like it was a show that really stuck with me because I went into it thinking that it wouldn't be much and came out thinking, wow, I'm impressed. So with that, I'm going to end this top 5. I do want you to watch Chihayafuru. Like I said, I recommend getting into sports anime through Haikyuu, but Chihayafuru is just an overall great anime, even outside of the sports genre, and it's definitely one that I think deserves the number one spot on the sports anime list. So, thank you very much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. You're free to subscribe if you liked what you heard or saw. You're free to like if you actually liked the video. If you don't, then you're free to dislike. Regardless, thank you for being here, and I'll see you guys next time.